horrifyingly. A heavily pregnant woman, exhausted and desperate, is cornered by three strange men in the last car of a late-night New York subway train. They whisper that they will cut the baby out of her belly right there to sell it on the black market, simply because she is poor and has no way to pay her debts. But what no one could have predicted on that freezing winter night, a starving, cold, 7-year-old girl risks everything, slips away from the train car, and runs through dangerous streets to the very stronghold of the most ruthless and infamous Korean Mafia boss in Manhattan, begging him to save her mother. Will the man the entire underworld calls the Ice King, who hasn't known love for 25 years after bearing the pain of losing his wife, open his heart because of a child's desperate eyes, or will lightning strike love explode, turning him into a madly protective guardian willing to burn his entire empire to the ground to save this family? Before we dive into this chilling and mysterious story, please remember to subscribe to the channel Crimson Romance Stories and like this video. Every subscription, like, and share from you is a huge spiritual gift and an incredibly profound source of motivation for the channel's growth, so we can continue bringing wonderful videos every day to everyone. There would be no greater joy than receiving your love and support through the comments you leave right below this video comments, sharing your emotions, or telling us which province or city you're living and working in while listening to this story. Alright, let's continue together and immerse ourselves in this amazing, captivating story that's filled with deep emotions. My name is Alexander Kang. Most people just call me Alex. But in the circles where real power moves, they call me Mr. Kang, or simply Boss. At 54 years old, I sit alone in the private back room of the Golden Lotus, a high-end Korean barbecue and Norbang lounge I own on 32nd Street in Manhattan's Koreatown. The air is thick with the scent of charred kalbi, cigar smoke, and the faint sweetness of macchioli poured into crystal glasses. Outside these soundproof walls, New York City hums with its endless December energy. But in here, on this cold Tuesday night in late 2025, everything stops when I speak. I am fair-skinned, the kind of pale that comes from Korean blood and too many years spent under artificial light rather than sunlight. My suits are custom-tailored on Savile Row. My watch a limited edition Patek Philippe that costs more than most people's homes. I built an empire that stretches from the ports of New Jersey to the underground gambling dens of Flushing, Queens, and the luxury import businesses that launder money cleaner than any detergent ever could. Men twice my size lower their eyes when I enter a room. Lieutenants who have killed for me without blinking wait for my nod before they dare to sit. I have everything a man could buy: penthouse overlooking Central Park, fleet of black Maybachs, private jet on standby at Teterboro, and yet, every night when the city quiets, I sit alone with a glass of single malt and feel the same hollow ache gnawing at the center of my chest. 25 years ago, my wife, Sujin, was taken from me. She was the only light I ever allowed into my world. We had dreamed of children, of a life beyond the shadows I moved in. But one rainy night in Brooklyn, a police raid went wrong on a human trafficking safe house my organization had unknowingly been protecting for profit. Sujin was caught in the crossfire. I arrived too late, only in time to hold her as the blood spread across her white hanbok-style blouse, the one she wore because she was teaching a Korean cultural class that evening. Her last words were my name, whispered like a prayer. Since that night, I have worn her small, silver Norbang microphone pendant on a chain beneath my shirt. It rests against my skin, cold and silent, a constant reminder that love is the most dangerous weakness a man like me can carry. So I buried it. I built walls higher than any skyscraper in this city. I became the man who never flinches, never forgives, never feels. Guilt festers inside me like an untreated wound, turning into rage, then into ice. Some nights the inner turmoil is so violent I can feel my pulse hammering in my temples, my hands trembling, though no one ever sees it. I tell myself the loneliness is the price of survival. I tell myself I deserve it. Tonight is like every other Tuesday. My most trusted lieutenants, Daniel Kim, Paul Lee, and young Victor Cho, sit around the low lacquered table with me. We speak in quiet, measured Korean about numbers. How much came in from the high-stakes baccarat rooms in Flushing? Which councilman needs another campaign contribution? Which rival crew is testing our borders in the Bronx? My voice is calm, almost gentle. But everyone in the room knows one wrong word could end a life. That is the power I have cultivated. That is the armor I wear. The private room is dimly lit by paper lanterns. The walls lined with dark wood and framed photographs of old Seoul that Soo-jin loved. A bottle of 30-year-old Yamazaki sits open in front of me. But I have barely touched it. The inner storm is worse tonight, memories of Soo-jin's laugh echoing in my head. The phantom scent of her jasmine perfume mixing with the grilled meat. I push it down, deeper, where it cannot touch me. Then the door to the main lounge opens just enough for the bass of a K-pop ballad to leak in before it closes again. One of my security men, Thomas Park, steps inside, his face pale beneath the lantern light. He leans close and whispers something urgent. I raise one hand, and the table falls silent. Send her in, I say, though I have no idea yet who she is. The door opens wider this time. Every man in the room tenses, hands drifting toward concealed weapons, because no one, absolutely no one, enters my private space uninvited. And then I see her, a little girl, no more than 7 years old, stands trembling in the doorway. She is African American, small for her age, painfully thin beneath a threadbare winter coat, 2 sizes too big. Her braids are uneven, some coming loose, and her dark eyes are wide with terror and exhaustion. Her lips are chapped from cold, her cheeks streaked with tears and grime. There is a faint bruise blooming along her jaw, and her sneakers are soaked through, leaving wet prints on the polished floor. She looks like she has walked through every circle of hell just to reach this room. The entire lounge beyond has gone quiet. I can feel it even through the walls. My men stare, unsure whether to drag her out or wait for my word. But the child does not look at them. Her gaze sweeps the room desperately, landing on me. Something in those eyes raw. Animal desperation recognizes power when it sees it. Without hesitation, she runs straight toward me, her small feet slapping against the floor. Thomas moves to intercept, but I lift one finger. He freezes. She reaches my chair and grabs the sleeve of my $5,000 suit with both tiny, freezing hands. Her fingers are like ice through the fabric. She is shaking so hard I can feel the tremor travel up my arm. Please, mister, she whispers, voice cracking, barely audible over the sudden roar in my own ears. They're hurting my mama. They're gonna take my baby brother before he's even born. Please, you look like you can stop them. The room is utterly silent now. I can hear my own heartbeat, violent and unsteady. Every wall I built over 25 years groans under sudden pressure. I look down at her. Really look. She is starving. I can see the sharp edges of collarbones beneath the coat, the hollows beneath her eyes that speak of nights without enough food, of a mother too poor to feed 2 mouths. Soon 3. Her coat is patched with duct tape. Her hands are raw from cold. This child has known hunger that gnaws at the stomach like acid. Sleepless nights in apartments where heat gets shut off. The humiliation of food stamps and eviction notices and kind strangers who look away. She has known despair that no 7-year-old should ever carry. And yet here she is, standing in the most dangerous room in New York City, clutching the sleeve of the most feared man in the Korean underworld, begging for help. Inside me, something ruptures. Not a crack, a full, violent rupture. The guilt I have carried for Soo-jin's death. The loneliness I have worn like armor. The rage I have fed for decades. All of it surges upward at once. My chest burns. My vision narrows until there is only this child's face. Those huge, pleading eyes. For the first time in 25 years, I feel not the cold calculation of profit and loss, not the dull ache of memory suppressed. I feel a fierce, overwhelming, almost painful wave of protectiveness crash through me. It is immediate, explosive, undeniable. I want to shield this little girl from every cruelty the world has already shown her. I want to erase the hunger, the cold, the fear, and beneath that, deeper, hotter. Something else awakens a burning, passionate tenderness toward her mother. A woman I have never met, who has fought alone against poverty so brutal it has brought her daughter to this moment. I do not yet know the woman's name. I do not know her face. But in that instant, looking at the evidence of her struggle standing before me, I am already in love with her courage. I am already willing to burn my entire empire to the ground if that is what it takes to keep her and her children safe. My hand, steady for decades in the face of guns and betrayal, trembles as I reach down and gently cover the child's freezing fingers with my own. What is your name? Sweetheart? I ask. And my voice comes out rough, almost broken. Zoe, she whispers. Zoe Jackson. My mama is Aaliyah. Please. Mister. They're on the subway right now. They're gonna cut the baby out. The inner war inside me ends in a single heartbeat. I stand. The chair scrapes back. Every man in the room rises with me. Get the cars, I say quietly to Daniel. All of them. And call Dr. Park at Mount Sinai. Tell him to clear an operating room. Now, we're all their AGs. Then I look down at Zoe, whose eyes are wide with shock and the first fragile glimmer of hope. I'm going to save your mama and your baby brother. I tell her, I promise, the cities. And for the first time in 25 years, Alexander Kang makes a promise he intends to keep with every drop of blood in his body. I can still feel Zoe's tiny, freezing hands clutching my sleeve as if I am the only solid thing in her crumbling world. The private room at the Golden Lotus has become a vacuum, every man frozen, waiting for my next move. But inside my chest, a storm is raging that no one can see. 25 years of iron control, of burying every soft thing under layers of ice. And this 7-year-old child has shattered it all in a single heartbeat. I kneel slowly, bringing myself eye level with her. My knees protest against the polished floor, but I ignore the ache. Up close, the evidence of her suffering is even more brutal. Her cheeks are sunken, dark circles carved beneath those enormous brown eyes, like bruises that never heal. Her lips tremble with cold and fear, chapped and bloodless. The coat she wears is a charity hand-me-down, threadbare at the cuffs, smelling faintly of mildew and subway exhaust. I can see the sharp outline of her shoulder blades through the fabric, the way hunger has whittled her down to bone and determination. This child has not eaten properly in weeks, maybe months. I know the signs. I have seen them on the faces of families we quietly helped through church donations. The ones I never let anyone trace back to me. My throat tightens. The Norbang microphone pendant beneath my shirt suddenly burns against my skin, as though Sujin herself is pressing it there, reminding me of every promise I failed to keep. Zoe's voice is barely a whisper now, soft and timid. The kind of voice that has learned powerful men can be dangerous. Mister, they said Mama owes money she don't have. They've been following us for days. Tonight on the subway, they said they're gonna take the baby to sell him. Mama tried to fight, but she's so tired. She's so big with the baby. Please. Each word lands like a blade in my gut. I picture it instantly, an exhausted, heavily pregnant woman, alone on a late-night train, shielding her unborn child with a body already pushed past breaking. The injustice of it is absurd, obscene. A woman working herself to death for minimum wage, living in some unheated Brooklyn walk-up where the heat gets shut off every winter. choosing between formula for Zoe and prenatal vitamins for the baby on the way. Sleepless nights, listening for footsteps in the hall. Eviction notices taped to the door. The constant humiliation of food pantry lines and judgmental glances from caseworkers who have never known real hunger. And now predators circling, ready to carve the child from her womb for profit. The inner violence inside me surges so suddenly, I have to clench my jaw to keep from roaring. Guilt, rage, grief, they collide in a blinding wave. I failed Sujin. I let the world take her because I was too busy building an empire that profited from shadows I never fully controlled. I swore I would never again let innocence pay the price for my blindness. Yet here it is again, staring up at me with tear-streaked cheeks. My hand steady when signing death orders. Steady when counting millions, trembles as I gently cup Zoe's cold face. Her skin is like ice. She flinches at first. Instinct born from too many raised voices and slammed doors, then leans into the touch, as though warmth is something she has almost forgotten. Zoe, I say, and my voice cracks, despite every effort to keep it even. I need you to tell me everything. Where is your mama right now? Her lower lip quivers. Still on the F train, headed to Brooklyn. They got her cornered in the last car. I slipped away when the doors opened at Herald Square. Ran up here, 'cause I heard people say, this place belongs to the man nobody messes with. They really had screams. A child's desperate instinct led her straight to me. Not the police, because in her world, police mean questions. Case files. Foster care separation. Not a neighbor because neighbors look away. She walked through freezing December streets. Past drug corners and homeless shelters. Past every danger a 7-year-old alone should never face. Just to find the most feared man in Koreatown. And in that choice, something inside me ruptures completely. The love hits me like a freight train immediate. Fierce. All-consuming. Not just for Zoe, though God knows my heart is already bleeding for this brave, starving little girl. But for her mother, Aaliyah Jackson, a woman I have never laid eyes on, yet whose struggle I can feel in my bones. A woman who has carried poverty like a cross, who has protected her children with nothing but her body and her will, who is at this very moment facing monsters alone on a subway car because the world decided her desperation made her prey. I love her. The realization shocks me so deeply I almost stagger. It is not gentle or gradual. It is violent, possessive, aching. I want to wrap her in every luxury I own. I want to feed her until the hollows in her cheeks fill out. I want to give her the safety she has never known. The rest she has earned 1,000 times over. I want to kneel at her feet and thank her for raising a daughter brave enough to save us both. The inner conflict tears at me. I am Alexander Kang, ruthless, untouchable. The man who orders disappearances over breakfast. Sentiment is weakness. Weakness gets everyone killed. I swore, after Sujin, I would never again let love make me vulnerable. Yet here I am. On my knees in front of a child who has already claimed a piece of my soul. Daniel clears his throat softly behind me. Boss, the train? If we move now, I stand. Lifting Zoe into my arms without thinking. She weighs almost nothing. Light as a bird. And burrows instinctively against my chest. Small arms wrapping around my neck. The trust in that gesture undoes me further. I can feel her heartbeat racing against my own. Cars, now. I order due. Voice, deadly calm. Thomas. Paul, full team. Quiet approach. No guns unless they force it. Victor. Call ahead to J Street Metrotech. Clear the platform if you can. Doctor. Park at Mount Sinai, tell him possible emergency delivery. Possible trauma. Priority 1. Is this Carnes? My men move like shadows. Years of discipline kicking in, but I see the shock in their eyes. They have never seen me like this holding a child. voice shaking with barely contained fury and something softer they cannot name. As we stride through the lounge, every patron averts their gaze. Word will spread by morning. Alexander Kang left his empire meeting for a street child. The Ice King melted. I do not care. In the back of the Maybach, Zoe sits beside me, clutching my hand as though afraid I will vanish. The city lights blur past Christmas decorations on Fifth Avenue. Tourists laughing under heated lamps. Worlds away from the cold reality she knows. I shrug off my cashmere overcoat and wrap it around her small frame. She drowns in it, but the shivering eases almost immediately. Tell me about your mama. I say quietly. Zoe's voice is small, reverent. Her name's Aaliyah. She pretty, even when she tired. She worked double shifts at the laundromat on Nostrand, folding clothes till her fingers bleed sometimes. She sing to the baby at night, old church songs. She cries sometimes when she think I'm sleeping. Says she's sorry she can't give us better. And each detail is a fresh wound. I picture Aaliyah beautiful, exhausted, singing lullabies through tears in a freezing apartment. Belly swollen with a child the world already wants to steal. The unfairness of it is a living thing, clawing at my throat. We reach the Herald Square station in minutes. My drivers know every shortcut. But the F train has already departed southbound. I feel the seconds ticking like a bomb. Next stop, J Street. Daniel says from the front. 8 minutes if we push it. Telms. I nod, pulling Zoe closer. She has fallen quiet, eyes wide at the leather seats, the heated air, the quiet luxury that must feel like another planet. You warm enough? I ask. She nods timidly, then whispers, You really gonna help us? Mister? I swear on my life. I answer, and mean it more than any oath I have ever given. The guilt surges again hot, violent. If I had cleaned my own house better years ago, if I had rooted out every trace of trafficking that once touched my operations, maybe Aaliyah would never have been targeted. Maybe Sujin would still be alive. But there is no time for self-laceration now. The convoy races through Brooklyn streets, tires hissing on wet pavement. My heart pounds with a mixture of terror and ferocious determination I have not felt since the night I lost Sujin. When we screech to a halt near J Street Metrotech, I carry Zoe down the stairs myself, my men fanning out ahead and behind. The platform is dimly lit, late-night stragglers giving us wide berth. And then I see her. Aaliyah Jackson stands backed against the far wall of the last car, one hand braced on her lower back, the other cradling her enormous belly. 3 men circle her hard faces. Cheap jackets. The kind of predators who hunt the vulnerable. Even from this distance, I can see how exhausted she is, face drawn, eyes shadowed, clothes worn thin. Yet she stands defiant, shielding her unborn child with her body. Something inside me breaks open completely. The passionate love I felt earlier ignites into an inferno. She is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, not in spite of her poverty, but because of the fierce strength shining through it. I want to spend the rest of my life making sure no one ever hurts her again. As the train doors open, I step forward, Zoe still in my arms. The confrontation is coming, and for the first time in 25 years, Alexander Kang is fighting for something that matters more than power. He is fighting for family. The F train screeches into J Street Metrotech station like a wounded animal, metal grinding against metal in the cold December night. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Zoe clings to my neck, her small body trembling against my chest as I carry her down the last few steps to the platform. My men fan out instinctively, Daniel and Paul ahead, Thomas and Victor flanking the rear, all of them moving with the silent precision of shadows. The handful of late-night stragglers scatter when they see us, sensing danger the way deer sense wolves. The doors of the last car hiss open, and there she is. Aaliyah Jackson stands pressed against the far pole, one hand cradling the enormous swell of her belly, the other braced against the wall for balance. She is more beautiful than I could have imagined, even in exhaustion and fear. Her dark skin glows under the harsh fluorescent lights. High cheekbones, sharp from weight she could not afford to lose. Full lips pressed tight against pain. Her coat is thin, threadbare wool that has seen too many winters. Zipper broken, so it hangs open despite the cold. Beneath it, a faded maternity dress clings to her frame, stretched thin over the baby that is clearly due any day. Her ankles are swollen above worn sneakers, legs trembling from standing too long on concrete floors at the laundromat. Her braids are pulled back in a tired ponytail. Loose strands, framing a face etched with sleepless nights and constant worry. 3 men surround her predators in cheap puffer jackets. Eyes hard and hungry. One has a hand in his pocket, fingers wrapped around something I do not doubt is meant to threaten. They have not touched her yet, but the threat hangs in the air like smoke. Aaliyah's eyes deep brown, fierce, even through terror, dart toward the open doors. When she sees Zoe in my arms, relief floods her features for a split second, followed immediately by fresh dread. She knows what kind of man carries a child off a subway platform with armed escorts. Suspicion wars with desperation in her gaze. The inner storm inside me reaches hurricane force. I have never felt anything like this. The love that ignited when Zoe spoke her mother's name now roars through every vein. Hot and uncontrollable. It is not pity. It is not charity. It is a fierce, possessive, soul-deep need to protect this woman who has fought alone against a world that keeps trying to break her. I want to lift every burden from her shoulders. I want to feed her until her cheeks round again. Clothe her in silk instead of rags. Give her a bed soft enough to erase years of sleepless nights on sagging mattresses. I want to stand between her and every cruelty fate has thrown at her. I want to worship the strength that has kept her standing this long. But more than anything, I want her to look at me without fear. One of the men notices us first. He straightens, hand tightening in his pocket. This ain't your business. Old man. Their notice. I step onto the car slowly. Zoe still in my arms. My men follow, filling the space without a word. The air thickens with tension. Everything that happens on this train tonight is my business. I say quietly. My voice carries the weight of decades spent making men disappear. Step away from the lady. If you can tell to work, the second man sneers. You know who we work for? You don't want this smoke. There. We have an abravid in the process. I feel Daniel shift beside me. Ready. But I raise one hand, wait. Aaliyah's voice comes then. Soft and restrained, trembling with exhaustion and caution. Sir, please. Just take my daughter and go. I don't want trouble for nobody. It's all. Her words hit me like a physical blow. She is willing to sacrifice herself to keep Zoe safe from whatever she thinks I am. The selflessness of it, the heartbreaking, humiliating poverty that has taught her powerful men only bring more pain tears at something deep inside my chest. I meet her eyes across the car. I am not leaving you, I say, and the words come out rougher than I intend. Thick with emotion, I cannot hide. Confusion flickers across her face, followed by deeper fear. She has no reason to trust me. In her world, men like me do not help women like her without wanting something terrible in return. Zoe twists in my arms. Mama, he's good, he promised. The lead predator laughs low. Hear that? Little girl thinks the Korean kingpin's gonna play hero. Cute. End quote. So they know who I am. Good. That saves time. I set Zoe down gently behind me, between Daniel and Paul. She clutches Daniel's leg, peeking out with wide eyes. Then I walk forward. The car is empty except for us. Now stragglers fled at the first sign of trouble. The train doors beep a warning. About to close. Last chance. I say calmly. Walk away. Tonight only. We can't have grabbed misters in the passive The man with his hand in his pocket pulls it out, revealing a short blade. Not a gun. Smarter than I thought. Guns bring police too fast. He lunges toward Aaliyah's belly. Time fractures. I move faster than I have in years, intercepting him, catching his wrist and twisting until something snaps. He drops the blade with a choked cry. Paul is already on the second man, pinning him face first against a seat. Thomas handles the third with a chokehold that ends the struggle before it begins. No shots fired. No blood on the floor. Just three predators suddenly realizing they hunted the wrong prey. Aaliyah stumbles back against the pole, hand pressed to her mouth, eyes huge with shock. Her breathing comes in shallow gasps. The stress, the fear, it is too much. She sways, face draining of what little color she had left. I am at her side in 2 strides, catching her before she falls. She is light, so heartbreakingly light for a woman heavy with child. Her body trembles violently against mine. I got you, I whisper, one arm around her shoulders, the other supporting her belly. You're safe now, both of you. Dozen is 80s. She stares up at me, disoriented, tears spilling over. Who are you? Alexander Kang. I answer softly. And I am going to take care of you. Azakt. Dizziness sweeps through her. She has not eaten properly today. Maybe not yesterday either. I can feel the faintness in the way her weight sags against me. Emotional numbness follows shock. Her eyes glaze for a moment. The world too much to process. The train doors close. The car lurches forward. I guide her gently to a seat. Kneeling in front of her, Zoe scrambles into her lap, burying her face in her mother's neck. Aaliyah wraps thin arms around her daughter automatically, but her gaze stays on me, wary, confused, cautiously curious beneath the fear. Why? She whispers, voice timid and respectful, the tone of someone who has learned to speak carefully to powerful strangers. Why you helping us? The question rips me open. Because I failed another woman once. Because your daughter's courage cracked 25 years of ice. Because the moment I heard your name, something in my soul recognized you as the second chance I never deserved. But I cannot say any of that. Not yet. Because no one should have to face this alone. I answer instead. And my voice shakes. Her lower lip trembles. Fresh tears fall. She looks down at Zoe, then back at me. And for the first time, a tiny flicker of hope dares to surface amid the exhaustion. The train rattles on toward the next stop. My men stand guard over the subdued predators. Outside, Brooklyn streets blur past bodegas with flickering lights. Homeless shelters with lines already forming for the night. Worlds of struggle Aaliyah knows too well. I pull off my suit jacket and drape it over her shoulders. She startles at the gesture, then pulls it closer, inhaling the warmth like someone who has been cold for years. In that quiet moment, with the subway lights flickering over us, I feel the passionate love settle into something deeper, permanent, unshakable. I will rebuild her world brick by brick if I have to. I will shield her from every cold wind, every cruel fate. The inner turmoil still rages, guilt over Sujin, fear that I will fail again, terror that my enemies will discover this weakness and strike at it. But overlying it all is a fierce determination I have not felt since the night I swore vengeance for my wife. This time, I will not be too late. As the train slows for the next station, Aaliyah's hand brushes mine, accidental, tentative, but she does not pull away. And in that small touch, I feel the first fragile thread of trust begin to form. The pursuit is far from over. But for the first time in 25 years, Alexander Kang is not running from his heart. He is running toward it. The subway car rocks gently as it pulls away from J Street Metrotech. The three subdued men zip-tied and silent under the watchful eyes of my lieutenants. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting harsh shadows across Aaliyah's face. She sits huddled in my suit jacket, Zoe curled tightly in her lap, both of them trembling from cold, fear, and exhaustion that runs far deeper than one night. I remain kneeling before them, one hand resting lightly on the seat beside Aaliyah's knee, not touching, but close enough to steady her if the dizziness returns. The scent of her faint lavender soap mixed with laundromat detergent and the metallic edge of fear fills my senses. It is the smell of a woman who has fought every day to keep her children clean and fed on wages that barely cover one meal. Aaliyah's breathing is shallow, eyes darting between me and my men. Suspicion lingers there, thick and justified. In her world, powerful men do not step in without a price. The confusion is plain. Why would a stranger in an expensive suit risk himself for a broke pregnant woman and her hungry daughter? Zoe lifts her head from her mother's chest. Her small voice breaks the heavy silence, soft and full of wonder. Mama, he stopped them, just like he promised. He's strong. Mama, real strong. With that word, Aaliyah's arms tighten around her daughter. Tears spill silently down her cheeks, carving clean tracks through the grime of the long day. She looks at me, then really looks, and the raw vulnerability in her gaze nearly undoes me. Sir, she whispers, voice timid, respectful, the tone of someone who has learned to speak carefully around authority. I don't understand why you're doing this. Folks like you, they don't help folks like us. Not without wanting something bad in return. It's not ras. The words strike deeper than any blade could. I see the humiliation she carries, the years of food stamps and eviction threats, of judgmental glances in grocery lines, of choosing between medicine and rent, the irrational cruelty of a system that let predators target her unborn child because a corrupt clinic worker sold her information for a few $100s. My throat tightens. The inner turmoil surges again, violent and unrelenting. Remorse for every time I looked away from suffering because it was not my business. Guilt for the empire I built on shadows that once allowed trafficking to flourish. And beneath it all, the fierce, burning love that has taken root so suddenly and completely, it terrifies me. I meet her eyes steadily. I want nothing from you. Aaliyah, I say, and my voice is rough with emotion I can no longer hide. Only to make sure you and your children are safe. That is all. It's got really wund. She searches my face, cautious curiosity flickering behind the fear. The train sways, and she winces, one hand pressing low on her belly. A contraction, small, but real. Too early. Stress and exhaustion are pushing her body past its limits. Zoe notices immediately. Mama, is the baby coming? Aaliyah forces a shaky smile for her daughter's sake. Not yet. Baby, just tired. That's all. With that, were the noted. But I see the truth. The pain, the dread that she might deliver on a cold platform with no help, no hospital, no money for the bill afterward. I pull out my phone and speak quietly to Daniel. Tell Dr. Park we're bringing her in now. Clear the ER entrance. Private ambulance if needed. And as no says, Aaliyah's eyes widen. Sir, Mr. Kang, hospitals cost money I ain't got. I was planning to go to the public clinic when it's time. I can't. You will not pay for anything. I interrupt gently but firmly. Not tonight. Not ever again. If I have my way, everyone, with clue. Shock ripples across her face. Disorientation follows her world, tilting as the reality of my words sinks in. A powerful stranger offering protection, medical care, safety, things she has only dreamed of in the darkest hours. The train slows for the next stop, Church Avenue. My men tense. Word travels fast in the underworld. And these predators have friends. As the doors open, 4 more men step onto the car, reinforcements. Faces hard. Hands in pockets. They see their tied comrades and stop short. One, clearly the leader, sneers. Kang, this ain't your territory. Walk away. Has 21. I stand slowly, positioning myself between them and Aaliyah. The car is nearly empty now, only us and the threat. I claimed this territory the moment I stepped on this train. I answer, voice low and deadly calm. Leave, while you still can. Yes, the leader laughs. But there is unease in it. My reputation precedes me. Still, pride pushes him forward. He takes a step closer. Paul and Thomas move to flank me. Daniel stays near Aaliyah and Zoe, shielding them. The standoff stretches, tension thick enough to taste. Aaliyah's breathing quickens behind me. I can feel her fear like a physical weight. Zoe whimpers softly. Then the leader's gaze flicks past me to Aaliyah. Greed lights his eyes, the bounty on her unborn child. He lunges not at me, but toward her. Everything happens in heartbeats. I intercept him, gripping his arm and slamming him against a pole with controlled force. Thomas disarms another before he can pull a weapon. Paul handles the third. The fourth hesitates, then backs toward the open door as the train begins to move again. No blood, no permanent harm, just a clear message. Touch them and face consequences you cannot imagine. The remaining men drag their unconscious friends off at the next stop, fleeing into the night. I turn back to Aaliyah. She is pale, clutching Zoe, eyes wide with fresh shock. The second contraction hits harder, she gasps, doubling forward. It's okay, I say, kneeling again, taking her hand without asking. She does not pull away. Breathe with me. In, out. She follows my lead, timid at first, then trusting as the pain eases. Her hand in mine is calloused from years of folding laundry. Nails short and practical, yet it feels like the most precious thing I have ever held. Zoe watches us. Small face, solemn. You really gonna take care of us? Mister? I look at both of them, mother and daughter, battered by cruelty yet unbroken, and feel the emotional rupture I have feared for 25 years. Yes, I answer, voice thick. I'm going to take care of both of you, and the baby, for as long as you will let me. It's daunted. Aaliyah's tears fall faster now, not just from fear or pain, but from the overwhelming shock of kindness after so much hardship. The numbness recedes, replaced by a cautious, fragile hope. The train emerges above ground for a stretch. City lights glittering through frost-laced windows. Manhattan's skyline in the distance. My world of penthouses and power feels suddenly hollow, compared to this subway car carrying the only people who matter now. I help Aaliyah stand as we approach our exit. She leans on me heavily, legs unsteady. Zoe walks beside us, holding her mother's other hand in mine, forming a small chain of trust. At the platform, my cars wait black, Maybachs idling curbside. An ambulance is already there. Discreet, private, Dr. Park himself stands ready. Aaliyah hesitates at the door, looking up at me with eyes full of questions and dawning wonder. I don't even know how to thank you. She whispers, You do not have to. I reply softly, Just let me help. Well, she nods, tears spilling again, and allows me to guide her into the warmth of the waiting vehicle. As we pull away from the curb, Zoe asleep against her mother's side. Aaliyah's head rests exhausted, involuntary against my shoulder, in that quiet moment, with the city lights blurring past. I feel the fierce love settle into certainty. This is not charity. This is destiny. The child's cry for help did not just save her mother and unborn brother. It saved me. The back of the Maybach is a world apart from the subway car we left behind. Heated leather seats cradle Aaliyah and Zoe like clouds. The soft hum of the engine a lullaby, compared to the screeching rails. City lights streak past the tinted windows, turning the interior into a cocoon of warmth and quiet luxury. Zoe has fallen asleep almost instantly, curled against her mother's side, small hand clutching the lapel of my overcoat that still envelops her like a blanket. Aaliyah sits beside me, pale and trembling, one hand resting protectively on her belly. The contractions have eased for now, but the pain lingers in her eyes, pain from the night, from the months, from the years. She stares at the passing streets as though seeing them for the first time, the glowing storefronts of Manhattan, the doormen in gold-braided uniforms, the couples laughing under heated cafe awnings, worlds she has only glimpsed from the outside. Pressing her face to cold bus windows on her way to another double shift, I watch her in silence, afraid to speak and shatter the fragile calm. The love inside me is no longer a surge, it is a constant, burning ache, fierce and tender at once. Every breath she takes feels tied to my own. I want to reach out, to smooth the loose strands of hair from her exhausted face, to promise her the stars, if that is what it takes to erase the shadows under her eyes. But I hold back. She is still wary, still processing the impossible reality of a powerful stranger who fought for her without asking for anything in return. The silence stretches until she finally turns to me. Her voice is soft, restrained, almost a whisper. "Mr. Kang, why does it feel like I'm dreaming? Like any second I'm gonna wake up back on that train. Alone again, with that it had just a forest on the mosing." The raw honesty in her words rips through me. I see the dizziness, returning emotional overload after years of holding everything together with nothing but willpower. Her eyes glaze slightly, the world tilting as kindness collides with the cruelty she has known too well. "It is real," I answer quietly, my voice rough with the storm inside. "And you are not alone anymore. We have Noah's not one of 7 to seize." She searches my face, cautious curiosity winning over fear for the first time. "You don't even know me. I got nothing to give a man like you. I'm just tired, broke, scared all the time. My baby boy ain't even here yet. And already folks want to take him from me." Oh, each confession is a fresh wound in my heart. I picture her life with brutal clarity. The tiny apartment with peeling paint and leaking pipes. The refrigerator too often empty. The nights she went hungry so Zoe could eat. The humiliation of begging landlords for one more week. Of clinic waiting rooms, where she sat for hours, only to be told her insurance did not cover the tests she needed. The cold winds that cut through thin walls while she sang lullabies to keep her daughter from hearing her cry. And now, after all that, predators circling because someone decided her desperation made her child a commodity. The inner turmoil explodes. Guilt crashes over me in waves, guilt for Sujin, for the shadows in my empire that once allowed trafficking to exist. For every time I profited from a world that crushes women like Aaliyah. Remorse so violent I have to grip the seat to steady myself. I swore I would never feel again. Never risk weakness. Yet here I am. Armor cracked wide open. Heart exposed and bleeding for this woman and her children. I reach out slowly, giving her time to pull away and cover her hand with mine. She startles, then stills, letting my warmth seep into her cold fingers. "I know enough," I say, voice thick. "I know you are strong. I know you have carried more than any person should have to bear. And I know that from this moment forward, no one will ever hurt you or your children again. Not while I breathe." Every 5. Her breath catches. Tears spill over. Silent and unstoppable. Shock gives way to deep disorientation, the ground shifting beneath the only reality she has known. A powerful man kneeling at her feet, figuratively and almost literally, offering protection without demand. The car slows as we approach Mount Sinai. Private entrance. Discreet as always. Dr. Park waits with a wheelchair and a team of nurses. But before the door opens, 2 unmarked SUVs screech to a halt behind us, more of the traffickers' crew. Bolder than I expected. Daniel curses under his breath. They followed us. With 18's eyes, my blood turns to ice and fire at once. "Get Aaliyah and Zoe inside," I order calmly. "Now." End quote. Over Sylve, Paul opens the door, helping Aaliyah out. She clings to Zoe, eyes wide with renewed dread. "Mr. Kang, go," I say gently but firmly. "I will handle this. Have a surd." She hesitates, fear and something softer warring in her gaze, concern for me. The first flicker of it, then she allows the nurses to guide her inside. I step out into the cold December air, buttoning my suit jacket against the wind. 5 men emerge from the SUVs. Faces I recognize from rival crews that dabble in the worst kinds of trade. The leader, a thick-necked man named Vargas, smirks. "Kang, word is you took something that belongs to us. Hand over the woman and the kid," and we walk away. So, I stand alone in the streetlight's glow. My men positioned strategically around the entrance. The hospital security watches from a distance, knowing better than to interfere. She belongs to no one. I answer, voice low and lethal. "Least of all you, ever," Vargas laughs. But there is unease in it. He knows my reputation. Still, greed pushes him. "You gonna start a war over some broke pregnant girl?" The insult to Aaliyah ignites something primal in me. I step forward. "The war started the moment you targeted her." I say, "Walk away. Last warning. Today dawns." They fan out, trying to flank. Thomas and Victor move to intercept. The confrontation is tense, words sharp as knives. Vargas lunges first, aiming to intimidate, not kill. I sidestep, gripping his arm and forcing him to his knees with a hold that promises pain without permanent damage. The others hesitate. My men close in. In moments, the 5 are on the ground, disarmed, ego bruised more than bodies. "Tell your bosses," I say quietly to Vargas, "that Aaliyah Jackson and her children are under my protection. Anyone who comes near them answers to me." He spits curses, but fear underlies them. They are dragged back to their vehicles and sent on their way. I stand in the cold a moment longer, chest heaving. The violence of my emotions terrifies me. I have not felt this alive, this raw, since Sujin's death. The cracked armor is gone entirely now. In its place is a heart beating for a woman I barely know, yet feel I have always been waiting for. Inside the hospital, Aaliyah waits in a private suite, warm, clean, the kind of room she has never seen. Nurses have given her a gown, started an IV for hydration. Zoe sleeps on a cot beside her, finally safe. When I enter, Aaliyah's eyes find mine immediately. Relief floods her features, followed by cautious wonder. "You okay?" she whispers. Voice timid. I nod, pulling a chair close to her bedside. "They will not bother you again." I will. And accorded in a desk, she studies me. The powerful man in the expensive suit who just fought in a hospital driveway for her. Disorientation returns, her world irrevocably changed in one night. "I don't know how to be in a place like this," she admits softly, tears rising again. "Feels wrong. Like I don't belong. Haven't disdact. You belong wherever you choose to be." I answer, taking her hand again. This time she squeezes back, tentative but real, in the quiet hum of machines and warm light, with Zoe's soft breathing the only sound. Aaliyah's walls begin to crack too, and in that shared vulnerability, the passionate love between us takes its first fragile root. My armor is gone, but for the first time in 25 years, I do not feel weak. I feel whole. The private hospital suite is a sanctuary of soft lighting and hushed voices. A world Aaliyah has never known. Monitors beep steadily. IV fluids drip into her arm, restoring what months of deprivation have stolen. Zoe sleeps deeply on the wide bed beside her, finally warm and safe. Small chest rising and falling without the constant tension of fear. Aaliyah lies propped against pillows that feel like clouds compared to the sagging mattress in her Brooklyn walk-up. Nurses have brought her warm broth and fresh fruit, simple things. But to her, they are luxuries. She eats slowly, cautiously, as though afraid it will vanish. Her eyes keep drifting to me. Sitting in the armchair beside her bed. Suit jacket off. Sleeves rolled up. The Norbang pendant visible against my skin for the first time in years. I have not left her side since the confrontation outside. The adrenaline still courses through me, sharpening every sense. My men stand guard in the hallway, Daniel coordinating with hospital security. Paul and Victor running down leads on the trafficking ring. Word will spread quickly now. Alexander Kang has taken a personal interest in protecting a poor pregnant woman from Brooklyn. Questions will be asked. Enemies will probe for weakness. But I cannot bring myself to care. Aaliyah sets the empty bowl aside. Hands trembling slightly, the warmth and food have brought color back to her cheeks. But exhaustion lingers like a shadow. She looks at me with that mix of caution and growing curiosity. Voice, soft and respectful. Mr. Kang, you didn't have to stay. You done more than enough already. And it is actage. The words pierce me. She still believes I will leave. That kindness like this always comes with an expiration date. I am not going anywhere. I answer quietly, leaning forward. Not until I know you and the children are safe. And as Very thaws, her breath catches. Shock flickers across her face again, followed by deep disorientation. In her world, powerful men do not sit vigil at the bedsides of strangers. They do not fight in hospital driveways for women who have nothing to offer. Why? She whispers, tears rising once more. I ain't nobody. Just a laundromat worker with bills I can't pay and a baby on the way I can't afford. You got important things to do. Important people waiting on you. I reach for her hand again. This time she lets me take it without hesitation. Her fingers are still cold, but warming. You are somebody, I say, voice thick with the storm inside. You are the strongest woman I have ever met. And those children, they are everything. Is plated. The inner turmoil reaches a new peak. Remorse crashes over me for every day I lived in luxury while women like Aaliyah fought to survive. Violent tension coils in my chest, the need to protect her warring with the terror that my world will bring her more harm. The love is overwhelming now, fierce and passionate. A fire I no longer want to contain. I want to tell her everything about Sujin, about the guilt that has eaten me alive, about how her daughter's courage and her own quiet strength have given me back the heart I thought died 25 years ago. But before I can speak, my phone vibrates. Daniel's name on the screen. I answer, keeping my voice low. Boss, he says, urgency tight in his tone. We trace the crew. They're regrouping bigger numbers this time, heading toward the hospital. 15 minutes out. Is or no? I stand, every muscle tensing. Lock down the floor. Quiet. No police unless they force it. At work, Aaliyah's eyes widen with fresh dread. They come in here? I nod, forcing calm into my expression for her sake. They will not get near you. His grade. Fear floods her features. Fear for Zoe. For the baby. For me. Mr. Kang, you can't keep fighting them. They won't stop. And I ain't worth... You are worth everything. I interrupt. Fierce and low. I lean close, cupping her cheek gently. Stay here. Keep Zoe close. Trust me. What is two-way? She searches my face, tears spilling. Then, in a moment of raw trust, she nods. I step into the hallway, closing the door softly behind me. My men are already positioned subtle. Professional. The hospital corridor is quiet. Late night stillness broken only by distant beeps and murmurs. Minutes stretch like hours. Then the elevators ding. Footsteps too many. Too heavy. 8 men spill out. Led by a face I recognize. Ramon Delgado. Mid-level boss in the trafficking network. gold chains flashing under the fluorescent lights. He spots me immediately. Kang, this ends now. Give us the woman, or we burn this place down around you. This is a plater. I step forward alone. Hands visible. You will leave this hospital empty-handed, or you will not leave at all. If you get in, Delgado laughs. But there is nervousness in it. My reputation is not just rumor. Still, numbers embolden him. They spread out, trying to flank toward the suite door. Daniel and Paul move to block. Thomas and Victor close from the sides. The confrontation is swift and controlled. Delgado lunges at me. I sidestep, gripping his arm and forcing him against the wall with pressure that promises pain without breaking bone. Paul disarms one, trying to pull a concealed blade. Victor pins another before he reaches the door. No shots. No screams to alarm patients. Just the quiet efficiency of men who have done this before. Delgado struggles in my grip. Face red. You're starting a war over trash from the projects? Rage surges. Hot and blinding. I lean close. Voice deadly soft. Speak of her that way again, and you will not walk out of here. One have a supported do. He sees the truth in my eyes. The Ice King has melted into something far more dangerous. A man protecting what he loves. The fight ends as quickly as it began. Delgado's men are subdued. Zip-tied. Messages delivered. They are escorted out, bruised egos and clear warnings. I return to the suite. Breathing hard. Composure cracking. Aaliyah sits up in bed. Zoe still asleep beside her. Tears stream down her face. She heard the struggle through the door. When she sees me unharmed, relief buckles her. She reaches out instinctively. I go to her, sitting on the bed's edge, letting her pull me close. Her arms wrap around my neck, thin but fierce, body shaking with sobs. I thought they hurt you. She whispers against my shoulder. The emotional rupture is complete. I hold her tightly, one hand cradling her head, the other supporting her back. The scent of hospital soap and her own warmth fills me. The passionate love I feel is no longer a secret. It pours out in the way I stroke her hair, in the tremor of my own breath. I am here. I murmur. I will always come back to you. End quote. She pulls away just enough to look at me, eyes searching. The suspicion is gone now, replaced by something deeper: trust, wonder, the first sparks of returned affection. In the quiet aftermath, with Zoe's soft breathing and the distant hum of the hospital, we sit together. No words for a long moment, just the shared warmth of two broken people beginning to heal. My armor is not just cracked, it is shattered, and in its place, a new strength rises, one forged in love, fierce and unbreakable. The confrontation is over for tonight, but the war for her safety and for my redemption has only begun. The hospital corridor outside the suite is quiet again, the subdued traffickers long gone. But the air still crackles with the aftermath of confrontation. My pulse has not slowed. Every beat echoes with the memory of Delgado's sneer, the threat to Aaliyah, the way her body trembled when she heard the struggle. I stand at the window of the private room, staring out over the glittering Manhattan skyline, my city, my empire, yet feeling more powerless than I have in decades. Behind me, Aaliyah shifts on the bed. Zoe remains asleep, exhausted from the terror of the night. Small face, finally peaceful. Dr. Park has just finished another examination. The contractions were Braxton Hicks, intensified by stress and dehydration. But the baby is stable for now. Rest. Fluids. Monitoring. Simple words for a situation that feels anything but simple. I turn back to her. She is watching me, eyes wide and wary in the soft lamplight. The hospital gown swallows her thin frame, making her look even more fragile. An IV line snakes into her arm, delivering what her body has lacked for too long: nutrition, hydration, safety. You should sleep, I say softly. Returning to the chair beside her, she shakes her head. Voice timid. Can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see them coming back, and I keep thinking this can't be real. That I'm going to wake up in my apartment, cold and alone, with the baby kicking and no way to feed Zoe tomorrow. And the raw confession tears at me. I see it all again. The freezing walk-up with windows that never quite shut. The empty cabinets. The overdue notices piled on a rickety table. Nights she lay awake listening for intruders. Hand on a kitchen knife that offered no real protection. Days dragging herself to the laundromat. Folding strangers' clothes for wages that disappeared before payday. I take her hand again. This time she threads her fingers through mine without hesitation. Clinging as though I am the only anchor in a storm. It is real, I whisper, and you will never go back to that. Her breath hitches. Tears spill silently. The emotional numbness that has protected her for years begins to crack under the weight of kindness. Shock gives way to dizziness. She sways slightly, even lying down. The world spinning from too much change too fast. Dr. Park returns with a nurse. Checking monitors. We need to move her to a secure floor, he says quietly to me in Korean. Word is spreading. More could come. Is this? I nod. Prepare the executive wing. Full lockdown. Ask clues. Aaliyah catches the tension in my voice. Fear returns. Sharp and immediate. They ain't gonna stop, are they? Not until I make them. I answer. Fierce but calm. Within minutes, we are moving quiet. Efficient. Aaliyah in a wheelchair. Zoe in her arms. Me walking beside them. My men form a protective ring. The executive wing is a fortress. Private elevator. Reinforced doors. Windows overlooking the city, but inaccessible from outside. But as the elevator doors close, fate delivers another cruel blow. A sudden, sharp contraction hits Aaliyah harder than before. Real this time. She gasps, doubling forward, face draining of color. It hurts. Oh God. It hurts bad. The nurse checks the monitor clipped to her finger. Contractions are closer. We need to get her to delivery now. Nunder for Seth. Chaos erupts in controlled urgency. The elevator opens directly into the secure maternity ward. Nurses swarm, wheeling her toward a delivery room. Zoe clings to me, terrified. Mama, she cries. I lift her into my arms. Following close, she is strong. Zoe, she will be okay. Weary haven to have. In raster, but inside, panic claws at me. Too early. Too much stress. The irrational injustice of it burns. A woman who has endured so much, now facing labor triggered by the very predators I failed to eradicate sooner. In the delivery room, monitors beep frantically. Dr. Park arrives. Calm but urgent. Possible preterm labor? We'll try to stop it. But she's dilating fast. Inspected, Aaliyah's hand finds mine again, gripping with surprising strength. Sweat beads on her forehead. Pain twists her beautiful face. I'm scared, she whispers, voice breaking. I can't lose this baby. Not after everything. You will not, I say fiercely, leaning close, brushing damp hair from her eyes. I am here. Breathe with me. Was the tenable case at? She follows my lead through the next contraction. Eyes locked on mine. Trust shines through the pain, complete. Desperate trust in the man who appeared from nowhere to fight for her. The love inside me reaches unbearable intensity. I would trade every dollar, every ounce of power to take this pain from her. The remorse is violent now, for Sujin. For the years I closed my heart. For the world that let this happen to her. Hours blur. Medications slow the contractions. But not enough. The decision is made. The baby is coming tonight. Aaliyah's exhaustion is heartbreaking. She has no reserves left, months of poor nutrition. Sleepless nights, constant fear have left her body frail. Yet she fights, fierce and determined. As transition hits, pain overwhelms her. She cries out, gripping my hand so hard my knuckles whiten. I can't do this. You can, I whisper. A voice thick with tears, I refuse to let fall. You are the strongest person I know. I am right here. I love you. Aaliyah, our daughters. The words slip out unplanned. Raw. True. She stares at me through the haze of pain. Shock cutting through everything. Then another contraction steals her breath. The room fills with focused urgency. Doctor, Park coaches gently. Nurses encourage. And then, suddenly, collapse. Aaliyah's blood pressure plummets. Alarms scream. Bleeding unexpected. Dangerous. Placental abruption. Dr. Park snaps. Emergency C-section. Now, everything becomes chaos. Aaliyah's eyes flutter. Consciousness fading. Terror grips me like nothing I have ever felt. No, I choke. Leaning over her. Stay with me, please. Aaliyah, stay. This beaconness. Crete pressed. Her hand goes limp in mine. They wheel her away at a run. Zoe sobs in a nurse's arms down the hall. I stand frozen in the empty delivery room. Chest heaving. World collapsing. The inner rupture is total. Guilt. Terror. Love, they collide in a storm that nearly brings me to my knees. I failed Sujin. I cannot fail Aaliyah. I cannot. I sink into a chair. Head in hands. The Norbang pendant clenched in my fist. Minutes feel like years. Then Dr. Park returns. Mask down. Expression exhausted but relieved. Mother and son are stable. It was close. Hemorrhage was severe. She lost a lot of blood. But she's a fighter. The baby boy is small, but breathing on his own. NICU for observation. But prognosis is good. If you stay, relief buckles me. Tears come then silent. Unstoppable. I go to her. Aaliyah lies pale in recovery. Machines beeping steadily. The newborn Malik. She had whispered the name earlier, sleeps in a warmer nearby. Tiny but perfect. I sit beside her. Taking her hand again, she stirs weakly. Eyes opening to slits. You're here, she whispers. Voice hoarse. Always. I answer, pressing her hand to my lips. In that quiet room, with our new family breathing steadily around us, the escape from immediate danger feels complete. But the collapse of old walls, of fear, of loneliness has only just begun. And in its place, something beautiful rises. Love, fierce, passionate, redemptive. The recovery room is dim, lit only by the soft glow of monitors and the city lights filtering through frosted windows high above Manhattan. The air smells of antiseptic and new life. A fragile mixture that clings to everything. Malik, tiny. Perfect Malik, sleeps in the warmer. His chest rising and falling with the steady rhythm of a fighter who has already survived more than most ever will. Zoe sits on a cushioned chair beside the bed. Legs dangling. Eyes wide as she stares at her new brother. Small hand pressed to the glass. Aaliyah lies pale against the white sheets. Eyes half open. Face drawn from blood loss and exhaustion that no amount of rest can immediately heal. The C-section incision is hidden beneath layers of gauze. But the pain lingers in every shallow breath. An IV drips steadily fluids. Antibiotics. And now a unit of blood to replace what she lost in the hemorrhage. I sit on the edge of the bed, her hand in mine, unable to let go even for a moment. My suit is rumpled. shirt sleeves still rolled up, the Norbang pendant resting openly against my skin. I have not slept. I will not sleep until I know she is truly safe. Aaliyah's fingers tighten weakly around mine. Her voice is a hoarse whisper, soft and timid, laced with the disbelief that has not left her since the subway. He's really here, my baby boy. And I'm still breathin'. It's to do that. The words break something inside me. I lean forward, pressing my forehead gently to our joined hands. Tears silent. Burning fall onto her skin. You are here, I murmur, voice rough with everything I feel. Both of you, all three of you. She turns her head slowly, studying my face in the low light. Shock lingers in her eyes, followed by that familiar wave of disorientation. The powerful man who fought armies for her, who held her through labor, who wept when she nearly slipped away. It is too much for a woman who has known only struggle and abandonment. You said, you love me, she whispers, cautious, almost afraid to believe it. Back in the delivery room, did you mean it? Or was it just the fear talking? The question hangs between us, raw and vulnerable. My heart pounds with violent intensity. Remorse surges again for the years I wasted in ice, for the empire built on shadows that nearly cost her life, for every moment I was not there to shield her from the cold winds and empty cupboards. I lift my head, meeting her gaze fully. I meant it with everything I am. I answer, voice trembling. I have loved you since the moment Zoe spoke your name. It is fierce. Aaliyah. It is forever. And it terrifies me because I have never felt anything this strong. It is a Fernie mess. Her breath catches. Tears spill over, tracing paths down temples into her hair. The emotional rupture is visible, years of guarding her heart against hope, now crumbling under the weight of being truly seen, truly wanted. I don't know how to be loved like that, she confesses, voice breaking. Men, they take tweed do, they leave, they hurt. I've been alone so long, holding everything together with nothing but prayers and stubbornness. Wortly knowed, I brush the tears from her cheek with my thumb. Touch gentle, reverent. Then let me show you, I whisper. Let me love you the way you deserve. Let me give you and your children the life you should have had all along. He stumbles. She searches my face. Curiosity winning over fear. The dizziness returns not from blood loss now, but from the overwhelming shift in her world. A man of wealth and power, on his knees beside her bed, offering not just safety but his heart. Zoe stirs, climbing carefully onto the bed to curl against her mother's side. Is Malik gonna be okay? Mama. Aaliyah wraps one arm around her daughter, the other still in mine. Yeah, baby. He's strong, just like you, just like Mr. Kang. It's another time sent to the back. The inclusion of my name in that quiet circle undoes me completely. I lean down, pressing a soft kiss to Aaliyah's forehead, then to Zoe's curls. Family. The word echoes in my soul. Healing wounds, I thought, permanent. But the moment of tenderness is short-lived. My phone vibrates on the bedside table. Daniel's name. I answer, keeping my voice low. Boss, he says. Tension tight. We have a problem. The ring's higher-ups just put a price on the street. Anyone who delivers Aaliyah and the baby gets a clean $1 million. They're flooding Brooklyn and Manhattan. We can hold the hospital, but we can't stay here forever. It's lead. The blood in my veins turns to ice. Then fire. The injustice is obscene. A mother and newborn hunted for profit because someone decided their desperation made them merchandise. I end the call, jaw clenched. Aaliyah senses the shift immediately. Fear returns, sharp and numbing. They ain't stopping, she whispers, voice trembling. They'll keep coming, and you'll get hurt, or worse, because of me. If you have to be in the Sefender, Was the no, and again, I turned back to her. Fierce determination blazing through the turmoil. They will not touch you. I will end this. But even as I speak, doubt gnaws violent. Relentless. My world is dangerous. Loving her has made her a target. The remorse intensifies, for dragging her into my shadows, for failing to dismantle the trafficking network sooner. Hours pass in quiet vigil. Nurses come and go. Malik stirs. Tiny cries filling the room. I help Aaliyah hold him for the first time, her arms shaking. Tears falling onto his soft cheek as she whispers his name. The tenderness is profound. A balm against the gathering storm. Then, near dawn, the next confrontation arrives. Alarms sound softly, security breach on a lower floor. My men report a dozen armed men in the stairwells, trying to bypass lockdown. I kiss Aaliyah's forehead. Stay here. Lock the door behind me. Now, incited her. The dose, the place, the campus. Terror floods her eyes. Alexander, please come back. As F. The use of my first name stops me cold. I cup her face, kissing her softly, our first kiss. Gentle, full of promise. I will always come back to you. I vow. In the hallway, my team waits. We move as one down service corridors, intercepting before they reach the maternity wing. The confrontation is tense. Street-level brutality in sterile surroundings. They are desperate now, driven by greed. I face their leader, a cold-eyed lieutenant named Cruz, in a quiet stairwell. You're bleeding money and men for a woman you don't even know. He sneers. Walk away. Kang. Last chance. End quote. I step closer. Voice deadly calm. She is everything, and you will never touch her. Well as next time, and the fight is swift, controlled holds. Disarms. Pressure points that end resistance without permanent harm. My men are precise. Professional. Cruz ends on his knees, breathing hard. Tell your bosses. I say quietly. The price is now on them. Anyone who comes near Aaliyah Jackson or her family answers to me. Personally, thanks. He is escorted out. Message delivered. I return to the room. Adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Aaliyah waits. Eyes searching me for wounds. Finding none, she reaches for me. I collapse into the chair, head in her lap, letting her fingers thread through my hair. Zoe sleeps again. Malik nurses quietly. In the gray light of dawn, with the city awakening below, we sit in silence. The passionate love between us deepens, no longer just words, but a living force. The birth brought new life. The blood nearly took it away, but we survived. And in surviving, we have begun to heal. The war is far from over, but for the first time, I am fighting for light, not shadow, and I will win. Dawn creeps through the frosted windows of the recovery suite, painting the room in pale gold. Malik has been brought back from the NICU for feeding, his tiny body swaddled and warm against Aaliyah's chest. She holds him with a reverence that breaks my heart anew, fingers tracing his perfect features as though afraid he might vanish. Zoe sits cross-legged on the bed, head resting on her mother's shoulder, whispering soft questions about her baby brother's tiny hands. I stand at the foot of the bed, watching them, the sight searing itself into my soul. This is what family looks like. This is what I lost 25 years ago and never dared hope for again. The passionate love I feel for Aaliyah is no longer a flame, it is the sun, warming every dark corner I have carried inside me. Yet beneath the tenderness, turmoil churns with increasing violence. The threats are escalating. My empire is vast, but it is built on trust. And trust is fragile when greed is involved. I have ordered deeper investigations into the trafficking ring, tracing the money that funded the hunt for Aaliyah's child. The answers coming back are poison. Daniel knocks softly and enters, face grim. He waits until Zoe dozes off again before speaking in low Korean. Boss, the hidden accounts. They route through our own shell companies. Someone inside has been diverting funds to the traffickers for years. Thanks for watching. The words hit like a blade between ribs. Betrayal. From within my own house, I step into the hallway, closing the door gently behind me. The corridor is empty, sterile. The quiet hum of the hospital, a stark contrast to the storm inside my chest. Remorse crashes over me, violent, suffocating. The trafficking ring that targeted Aliyah was financed, in part, by money that passed through my organizations. Unknowingly, perhaps. But the responsibility is mine. I failed to see it. I allowed it to grow in the shadows while I built walls around my heart. And now the woman I love, the children I would die for, have paid the price. Who? I ask Daniel. Voice deadly calm. He hesitates. Minjun Park. Your second in command. The signatures match. The transfers started small. Years ago, he's been playing both sides. I'm spread. Min Jun. The man I mentored like a son. The one I trusted with my life. With the empire I built from nothing after Sujin's death. The protege who sat at my table every Tuesday. Who swore loyalty with eyes I believed were honest. The betrayal cuts deeper than any rival's knife could. Guilt and rage collide, tearing at me from within. I have been blind, arrogant, so focused on external threats, I missed the rot at my core. I return to the room. Composure, a thin mask. Aliyah looks up, sensing the shift immediately. Her eyes, still shadowed from blood loss, fill with fresh worry. What's wrong? She whispers. Voice soft and restrained. I sit beside her, taking her free hand. Malik stirs against her. Tiny fist curling. Nothing you need to fear. I answer. Though the lie tastes bitter, rest. I will handle it. Is not. But she searches my face. Intuition sharp, despite exhaustion. Alexander, you look like you carry in the whole world again. Talk to me. There wasn't is plays. The use of my name, the gentle demand, undoes me. I lean close, forehead resting against hers. Someone I trusted has been working against us. Against you. Everyone. Shock ripples through her. Then dread deep. Numbing. Because of me? All this? Because of me? And my babies? No. I say fiercely, cupping her cheek. Because of greed. Because of evil that I should have rooted out long ago. You are innocent. You are everything good. If you us. Tears spill down her face. The emotional rupture is visible, the weight of believing she brings danger to those who help her. Years of poverty have taught her she is a burden, unworthy of kindness that lasts. I ain't worth all this trouble, she whispers. Voice breaking. I got nothing. Alexander. No money. No power. Just debts and 2 kids and a body that's still healing. You should let me go before. I silence her with a gentle kiss soft, full of promise and desperation. She stills, then responds. Timid at first. Then with the same fierce passion I feel, when we part, her eyes are wide with wonder and lingering fear. You are worth everything. I murmur against her lips, and I am never letting you go. I will, Bess. The tenderness is shattered hours later. Minjun arrives at the hospital unannounced, flanked by 4 of his loyalists. He demands a meeting in the private waiting area. Face arranged in concern. I meet him alone. My own men positioned out of sight. Boss, he says smoothly. I heard about the attacks. Terrible. I've brought extra men to reinforce security. The lie hangs between us. I study him, the man I raised in this life, and feel only cold fury. I know about the accounts. Minjun, I say quietly. His mask slips for a fraction of a second surprise. then calculation. I don't know what you... Do not insult me. I interrupt. Voice low and lethal. You funded the ring that hunted an innocent woman and her unborn child. For what? A bigger cut? Power you thought I would never give you? He shifts. Hand drifting toward his jacket. My men emerge silently behind his. The confrontation is tense. Words sharp as weapons. Minjun tries to justify claims he kept the trafficking separate, that the money helped stabilize our operations. Lies wrapped in half-truths. You crossed a line. I say, innocence, children, you profited from the very evil that killed Sujin. Maked, his eyes flicker at her name. He knows the wound. I did what was necessary. He sneers finally. You went soft years ago, hiding behind your grief. This empire needs strength, not sentiment. If you do why, the words ignite the rage I have held back. I step forward, gripping his collar, forcing him back against the wall. Sentiment? I hiss. Love is not weakness. It is the only thing worth fighting for. Never, his men tense. But mine are faster. The struggle is brief disarms, restraints. Minjun ends on his knees, face pale with the realization that his betrayal is over. You will confess everything. I tell him coldly, the ring will fall, and you will face the consequences you deserve. Note, he is removed quietly. The hospital, none the wiser. I return to Aliyah shaken, the betrayal carving fresh wounds. She senses it immediately, reaching for me. What happened? I sit, head in my hands a moment, then tell her gently, but honestly, the insider, the funding, my failure to see it. She listens, tears falling silently. Then she pulls me close, arms around my shoulders despite her weakness. It ain't your fault, she whispers. You didn't know, and you stopped it. You saved us. But end quote. The comfort from her, the woman who has suffered most from my blindness, heals and hurts at once. I hold her tightly, careful of her incision, burying my face in her hair. I will make it right. I vow. All of it. I do as, in the quiet that follows, with Malik sleeping and Zoe dreaming. The passionate love between us deepens into something unbreakable. The betrayal has been revealed, but the redemption has only begun. I am no longer the Ice King. I am a man in love, fighting for his family, and I will tear down every shadow to keep them in the light. The hospital has become both sanctuary and prison. Days blur into one another under the harsh December light of 2025. The city outside, buried in early snow, while we remain locked behind layers of security. Malik gains strength in the NICU, his tiny lungs growing steadier. Aliyah heals slowly, incision tender. Body weak from blood loss and years of deprivation, but color returns to her cheeks with proper food and rest. Zoe explores the private suite like a wide-eyed adventurer, discovering soft blankets, warm showers that never run cold, and fruit baskets that seem endless. I rarely leave. My empire runs on phones and encrypted messages. Lieutenants handling the streets while I guard this room, but the betrayal festers like an open wound. Minjun's confession, extracted quietly in a secure location, has unraveled a web deeper than I imagined. Funds diverted not just to trafficking, but to rivals who sought to weaken me from within. Men I trusted. Accounts I signed off on without looking close enough. The remorse is relentless. A violent tide that threatens to drown me every time I look at Aliyah holding our newborn son. She senses it. Of course, her intuition is sharp, honed by years of reading danger in landlords' eyes and caseworkers' tones. One quiet afternoon, with snow falling thick outside the window, she reaches for my hand as I sit beside her bed. Malik sleeps in her arms, Zoe napping on the cot. "Alexander," she says softly, voice still timid when addressing the weight of my world. You've been carrying something heavy since that man came. Talk to me. Please. I meet her gaze, those deep brown eyes that have become my anchor, and the walls crumble further. The betrayal. It runs deeper than Minjun. I admit. Voice low. Men I trusted for years. Money that passed through my hands helped fund the ring that hunted you. I was blind. Aaliyah. Arrogant. And you paid for it. Her breath catches. Shock ripples across her face, followed by that familiar dizziness, the world tilting again. But instead of pulling away, she squeezes my hand tighter. No, she whispers fiercely. You didn't know, and when you found out, you stopped it. You saved us. That's what matters. Die. The grace in her words, the forgiveness from the woman who suffered most tears at me. I bow my head, pressing her hand to my lips, tears falling silently. I do not deserve you, I murmur. She shifts carefully, wincing at the pull on her incision, and cups my cheek. Maybe nobody deserves nobody, but we here now. Together, there is next times. The passionate love surges, overwhelming and redemptive. I kiss her then slow, deep, pouring everything I cannot say into the touch. She responds with the same intensity, hands threading into my hair, body arching toward me despite the pain. In that kiss, the internal war pauses. For a moment, there is only us, but the war resumes with vengeance that night. Daniel calls from the field. Boss, Minjun's loyalists are moving. They hit 2 of our warehouses in Queens, and they're spreading word that anyone who takes you out gets the empire. Thanks for watching. Civil War. Within my own house, the turmoil explodes. Guilt for mentoring Minjun, for building an organization where greed could fester unchecked. Rage at the men who now threaten the family I have only just found. Terror that my darkness will consume the light Aaliyah and the children bring. I pace the suite like a caged animal, phone to ear, issuing orders in clipped Korean. Safe houses prepared. Loyal crews mobilized. Assets frozen. Aaliyah watches from the bed. Malik nursing quietly. Fear returns to her eyes, not just for herself, but for me. You going out there? She asks, voice trembling. I have to end this, I answer, kneeling beside her. Before they come closer, as grade rest, she clutches my shirt, tears spilling. I just got you. I just got this life. Don't let them take it from us. End quote, with addization. The plea rips me apart. I hold her close, careful of the baby, breathing in her scent. I will come back. I vow, I swear it. 2:19. The confrontation comes faster than expected. Midnight, snow blankets the city. Muffling sounds as my convoy moves toward a neutral warehouse in Red Hook. Minjun's remaining loyalists, 12 men, wait there, claiming they want to negotiate surrender. I know it is a trap, but I go anyway. To end it, the warehouse is cavernous, lit by hanging bulbs that swing in the cold draft. Snow drifts through broken windows. My men fan out as I step into the open center. They emerge from the shadows, armed, faces hard with desperation. Their new leader, a former captain named Jeho, steps forward. Boss, or former boss, Minjun sends his regards. The Empire needs new blood. You've gone soft and dodgy. As 7 is great, the insult to my love for Aaliyah ignites fury. I have gone strong, I answer coldly. Strong enough to clean my own house. So, the standoff stretches. Tension, electric. Words fly, accusations, justifications. They claim I abandoned the old ways, that protecting some project girl makes me weak. I step closer. She is worth more than all of you combined. Mostage. Jeho lunges, aiming to intimidate. The fight erupts controlled. Brutal efficiency. My loyal men against traitors. Holds. disarms, pressure that ends resistance without needless blood. I face J-Ho personally, pinning him against a crate. You chose wrong, I say quietly. Tell the others, loyalty or exile. There is no third choice. It's not a base this, he spits defiance. But fear underlies it. They are bound. Messages sent. The internal war tilts in my favor. I return to the hospital at dawn. Snow on my coat. Body aching but unbroken. Aaliyah waits. Eyes red from worry. When she sees me whole, she crumbles into my arms, sobbing against my chest. I thought I lost you, she whispers. Never. I murmur, holding her tightly. The war inside is ending. Because of you. Head about donated. We stand there in the quiet suite. Snow falling outside. Malik and Zoe sleeping peacefully. The internal war has raged, betrayal exposed. Lines drawn. Battles fought, but in her arms, I find peace. The empire will be rebuilt cleaner, stronger, and my heart, once fractured beyond repair, is healing in the light of this fierce, passionate love. The traitors are falling, and we are rising. The snow has turned to sleet by evening, rattling against the high windows of the executive wing like impatient fingers. Inside the suite, warmth wraps around us like a promise. Malik has been discharged from the NICU, small but strong enough to come home with us soon. Aaliyah sits propped in bed, cradling him while he nurses, her face soft with a wonder that still catches me off guard. Zoe colors quietly at a small table, tongue peeking from the corner of her mouth in concentration, drawing a picture of our new family. Stick figures holding hands under a bright yellow sun. I stand at the window, phone in hand, coordinating the final moves against the remaining traitors. The internal war is nearly won. Loyal crews have reclaimed territories, frozen accounts, delivered messages that leave no room for doubt. Minjun's network crumbles, but the cost weighs heavy. Men I knew for decades have chosen exile or worse, blood ties severed, not by bullets, but by broken trust. The remorse is a living thing now, clawing deeper with every report. I built this empire to survive Su Jin's loss, to never again be vulnerable. Yet vulnerability found me anyway in the form of a desperate child grabbing my sleeve and a weary mother shielding her unborn son with nothing but courage. Aaliyah's voice pulls me back. Alexander, come sit. You've been standing there too long. I was the felon. I cross to her, perching on the bed's edge. She shifts Malik to her shoulder for burping, then reaches for my hand. Her fingers are warmer now. Strength returning day by day. You carrying the weight again, she says softly. Eyes searching mine. I see it. Whatever's left out there, let it go for tonight. We here, we safe. End quote. The tenderness in her words undoes me. I lean in, kissing her slowly, tasting the salt of quiet tears, hers or mine. I no longer know. The passionate love between us has become the only steady ground in a world shifting beneath my feet. But the world refuses to let us rest. My phone buzzes Daniel. Urgent tone. Boss. Breach at the service entrance. Minjun's last loyalists, 6 men. Heavily armed. They're inside the building. Asthma. Ice floods my veins. They have come for us. Here, in the one place I believed impregnable. I stand, masking the terror with calm. Lock down the floor. I'm coming. It's the quad. Aaliyah's face drains of color. She clutches Malik closer, free hand reaching for Zoe. Alexander, I will stop them, I say, voice steady for her sake. Lock the door behind me. Do not open for anyone but me. And that's Biscuit. Fear floods her eyes, raw, paralyzing. The dizziness returns. I see her sway even sitting. Memories of cold apartments, empty threats from collectors. The constant dread of losing her children crash over her anew. Zoe whimpers. Sensing the shift. Mama? Aaliyah pulls her daughter close. Voice trembling but strong. It's okay. Baby. Mr. Kang gonna take care of it. 8. I kiss them each forehead for Zoe. Lips for Aaliyah, lingering on the promise in her gaze. Then I step into the hallway, closing the door with a soft click. My men wait, Daniel. Paul. Thomas. Victor faces grim. We move as one through service corridors, avoiding main elevators. Security feeds show the intruders splitting, 3 heading for the stairwell. 3 toward maintenance, access. They are desperate now. Driven by Min Jun's final orders from custody, eliminate me. Take Aaliyah and the children as leverage, or worse. The thought ignites fury hotter than any I have known. We intercept the first group in a dim basement hallway near the loading dock. Cold concrete, flickering fluorescence. The distant hum of generators. They see us and fan out, hands on concealed weapons. Kang? Their leader growls, a man I once called friend. This ends tonight. Min Jun says the Empire's his. They're of yous. I step forward alone. Min Jun is finished, and you are making the last mistake of your lives. One ended, one. Words escalate to action. They rush, seeking to overwhelm. My men engage with precision, holds that disable. Strikes that end threat without finality. I face the leader, blocking a wild swing, twisting his arm until he drops to his knees. You would harm a mother recovering from surgery? I hiss. A newborn? For money? He spits defiance. But pain and fear break through. The fight ends quickly. Bound. Disarmed. Messages delivered. But the second group has slipped past. Alarms sound softly breach on our floor. Terror grips me. I run. Men behind me. Heart pounding with visions of Aaliyah alone, protecting the children with her still healing body. We burst onto the executive wing hallway. Gunfire echoes muffled. Suppressed. Paul takes a round in the shoulder. Grunting but staying upright, Thomas returns controlled fire, forcing the intruders back. I charge forward, rage overriding caution. 2 assailants at the suite door, one forcing the lock, the other covering. I tackle the gunman, slamming him against the wall. Bone-crunching impact. Weapon clattering away. The lockpicker turns, raising his sidearm. A shot rings out close. Deafening. Pain explodes in my side. I stagger. But adrenaline surges. I disarm him, pinning him down as my men secure the hall. Warmth spreads across my shirt blood. Mine. The pain is fire. But I push through, staggering to the suite door. Aaliyah, I call, voice ragged. The door flies open. She stands there, pale as death. A heavy metal bedpan, clutched like a weapon. Zoe and Malik behind her in the bathroom. Door barricaded as I had instructed. When she sees the blood soaking my side, a cry escapes her. She drops the bedpan, rushing to me as I slump against the frame. Alexander, oh God! My men swarm in, securing the intruders. Calling for medical. I slide down the wall. Vision blurring. Aaliyah kneels, pressing her hands to the wound, tears streaming. No. Stay with me. She sobs. You promised. The emotional rupture is total. Pain. Terror. Love, they collide in a storm that threatens to pull me under. I cup her face with a bloodied hand. I am here. I rasp, not leaving you. Effortus, the tells. Doctors rush in, hospital staff. My private physician on call. Pressure. Bandages. IVs. The bullet-grazed ribs. Missed vitals. Painful, but not fatal. Aaliyah refuses to leave my side as they wheel me to surgery for cleaning and stitching. She holds my hand the entire time, face streaked with tears, whispering prayers and promises. In the haze of anesthesia, her voice is the last thing I hear. I love you. Alexander Kang, come back to us. Bien, the assassination attempt has failed, but the cost is etched in blood mine, spilled, protecting the family I never knew I needed. As consciousness fades, one truth burns clear. The war may rage on, but this love, this fierce, passionate, redemptive love, will not be taken from us. Not tonight. Not ever. The hospital room swims in and out of focus, pain radiating from my side like fire through dry grass. Morphine dulls the edges, but not the memory of the gunshot. The blood, the terror in Aaliyah's eyes when she thought she was losing me. I drift in that hazy space between sleep and waking, her voice the only tether pulling me back. I love you. Alexander Kang, come back to us. Heznut. The words echo over and over, a lifeline in the darkness. When I finally surface, the room is dim, monitors beeping softly. Snow still falls outside, blanketing the city in white silence. Aaliyah sits beside the bed, slumped in the chair, head resting on the mattress near my hand. Her fingers are intertwined with mine, grip tight even in exhaustion. Malik sleeps in the bassinet nearby, Zoe curled on the cot under a pile of blankets. Aaliyah stirs as I shift, eyes flying open. Relief floods her face, followed by fresh tears. You're awake, she whispers, voice hoarse from crying. She leans forward, pressing her forehead to my hand. Thank God. Thank God. To action. I squeeze her fingers weakly. I heard you. I rasp. Every word. After, she lifts her head, eyes searching mine. Fear lingers there, fear that this is temporary, that the powerful man will vanish like every good thing she has ever known. I meant it, she says softly, timid but resolute. I love you. I didn't think I could, not after everything. Men like you don't stay for women like me. But you fought for us. You bled for us. And I can't pretend anymore. See well, the confession hits me like a wave, crashing through the remnants of pain and medication, the inner turmoil, guilt, remorse. The violent fear of losing her reaches its peak and finally breaks. Tears burn my eyes, spilling over without shame. I pull her gently toward me. Mindful of wires and bandages, she climbs carefully onto the bed, curling against my uninjured side, head on my shoulder. Her body is warm, real, trembling with the weight of her words. I love you too. I whisper into her hair. More than my life, more than anything I have built, you are my redemption. Aaliyah, you and the children, and Teneltes, she sobs quietly against my chest, fingers clutching my gown. The emotional rupture is complete for both of us. Years of guarding her heart against hope, of believing she was unworthy of lasting love, shatter in my arms. For me, 25 years of ice melt in her warmth. We stay like that for hours, whispering confessions in the dim light. She tells me of the nights she went hungry so Zoe could eat, of the humiliation of food pantry lines, of singing church songs to Malik in the womb because they were the only lullabies she knew. I tell her of Sujin, of the guilt that has eaten me alive, of how her daughter's courage and her own quiet strength gave me back my soul. The love is no longer a surge, it is a quiet, fierce river carrying us forward. But even in tenderness, the world intrudes. Daniel knocks softly, entering with updates. The assassination attempt has broken the last resistance. Minjun's remaining loyalists have surrendered or fled. The trafficking ring's leadership, exposed by Minjun's full confession, is being dismantled quietly. funds seized and redirected to victims. The war is ending. Because of her. Aaliyah listens from my side, hands still in mine. When Daniel leaves, she looks up at me, eyes shining. You did it, she whispers. You kept your promise. And, unquote, we did it. I correct gently. Your courage started this. It's now, she shakes her head, tears falling again. I was just trying to survive. You changed everything. Ass. I kiss her, then slow. Deep, full of everything words cannot hold. She responds with the same passion. Hands framing my face, body pressing close despite the pain it causes, her healing incision. In that kiss, suspicion is gone forever. Only love remains fierce, overwhelming, redemptive. Days pass in recovery. I heal faster than expected, driven by the need to hold my family without wires or bandages between us. Aaliyah grows stronger too, walking the halls with Malik in her arms, Zoe skipping beside her. One evening, as snow turns to rain against the windows, she sits on my bed again, Malik nursing quietly. I've been thinking, she says softly, the voice still carrying that respectful timbre when she speaks of big things, about what comes next. I ain't got a home to go back to. Landlord probably changed the locks by now. And I can't raise my babies in shelters or motels, but I'm scared. Scared to dream bigger. Everyone. I take her hand. Then let me give you the dream. I say, a home, safety, everything you and the children need. Stay with me. Aaliyah, let me love you all. Properly. 2000's fiveness. Shock ripples through her again, disorientation at the scope of what I offer. A penthouse overlooking the park. Private schools for Zoe. The best care for Malik. A life without want. Without fear. Tears spill over. You really mean forever? Forever. I vow. She nods, sobbing quietly against my shoulder. The confession of love has opened the door, and now she steps through. Zoe climbs up then, sensing the shift. Are we going to live with Mr. Kang now? Aaliyah looks at me, eyes shining. Yeah, baby. We are... Has not way. Zoe's smile lights the room. Malik stirs, tiny hand reaching out. In that moment, with rain washing the city clean outside, our family is whole. The love confessed is no longer words. It is promise. It is future. It is everything. The assassination attempt took blood, but it gave us life. And in the quiet aftermath, with Aaliyah in my arms and our children close, the turmoil finally stills. I am no longer the man who lost everything. I am the man who found it all. In her, in them, forever. Recovery comes slowly, measured in small victories. The day the bandages come off my side, leaving a jagged scar that Aaliyah traces with gentle fingers and quiet tears. The morning Malik smiles for the first time. A gummy, perfect curve that stops my heart. The afternoon Zoe calls me Daddy Alexander without hesitation. Her small arms wrapping around my neck as naturally as breathing. We leave the hospital in early January. Under heavy but discreet guard, the city is still gripped by winter. Streets slick with ice, breath fogging in the air. Aaliyah steps into the waiting Maybach, wrapped in a new cashmere coat, soft dove gray. The first luxury garment she has ever owned that was bought just for her. She runs her fingers over the fabric again and again, as if expecting it to dissolve. Zoe bounces on the heated seats, eyes wide at the passing skyline. Malik sleeps in a state-of-the-art car seat that costs more than Aaliyah's old monthly rent. The contrast is brutal, and I feel it every moment. While they settle into the penthouse overlooking Central Park rooms filled with light, heat that never fails. Refrigerators stocked with fresh food, Aaliyah moves like a woman afraid to touch anything. She apologizes for footprints on the marble, folds blankets with laundromat precision, hesitates before using the shower that rains hot water without limit. One night, as snow falls thick beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, she stands in the kitchen, staring at the sub-zero full of groceries. Tears fall silently. I keep waiting to wake up, she whispers when I wrap my arms around her from behind. This can't be my life. Fresh fruit in winter. Heat that don't click off. A bed big enough for all of us without feet hanging off. An affected tones, I turn her gently, cupping her face. It is your life now. Our life, braided knot 7. The inner turmoil has not quieted. If anything, it has sharpened. Every luxury I give her reminds me of the years she went without. Every smile from Zoe stabs at the guilt that I profited, however unknowingly, from a world that preyed on families like hers. The remorse is a constant ache, violent and unrelenting. But there is still justice to deliver. Minjun is held in a secure location, waiting. The trafficking ring's remaining leadership, 3 men who orchestrated the bounty on Aaliyah and Malik, have been located. They believe money and connections will protect them. They are wrong. I arrange the meeting in a nondescript warehouse in Red Hook. Neutral ground. Snow crunches under tires as my convoy arrives. The air is bitter cold. Breath visible. The Hudson River frozen at the edges beyond the chain-link fence. They wait inside. 3 men in expensive coats, surrounded by bodyguards. Arrogance radiates from them, the kind born of never facing real consequences. I step forward alone, hands visible. My men fan out behind me. Gentlemen, I say quietly, voice carrying in the vast space. You placed a price on an innocent woman and her newborn son. He was the deferent. The leader, a slick operator named Victor Reyes, smiles thinly. Business. Kang. Nothing personal. She was an easy mark. You got involved where you shouldn't have. Yes, the words ignite fury. But I keep it leashed. Everything about her is personal to me. I answer. And your business ends tonight? It's tension thickens. Their bodyguards shift. Reyes tries bravado. You think you can touch us? We have friends in high places. Judges. Politicians. And problematic. I step closer. I have something stronger. Truth. Well, God. Daniel steps forward with a tablet evidence compiled from Minjun's confession. Seized records. Wire transfers. Names. Dates. Amounts. Enough to bury them legally and otherwise. Reyes's smile falters. Here is what will happen. I continue, the voice calm but edged with steel. You will disband every operation that preys on the vulnerable. Every ledger, every contact, every safe house gone. All profits from the last 5 years will be liquidated and returned anonymously to the families you harmed. Shelters, medical funds, housing assistance. There is 7. He laughs. But it is nervous now, and if we refuse, I meet his gaze, then you will not leave this warehouse as free men. End quote. The standoff stretches. Bodyguards reach for weapons. My men are faster disarms. Restraints. Controlled efficiency. No shots fired. Just the quiet end of threats. Reyes ends on his knees. Face pale. You're insane. Starting a war over one woman. End quote. With a passively so disguised. She is not one woman. I say softly. She is the reason I fight now. Wool. Anders. They are escorted out, bound for quiet delivery to authorities with evidence that ensures conviction. The ring collapses within days. Funds flow back to victims, mothers who lost children, families torn apart, anonymous accounts. Untraceable to me. Justice. Finally, I return home late. Snow melting from my coat. The penthouse is warm. Lights low. Aaliyah waits in the living room, wrapped in a blanket. Malik asleep against her chest. Zoe dozes on the couch nearby. She looks up as I enter, eyes searching for wounds, physical or otherwise. It's done, I say quietly, kneeling before her. The ring is finished. The money they took, it's going back to the people they hurt. It's quote, relief buckles her. Tears fall silently. You did that. For us? For all of us. I answer, taking her free hand. For every family they broke. Because I could not save Sujin, but I could save you. And, in saving you, I saved myself. End quote. She leans forward, pressing her forehead to mine. You don't need Savin, Alexander. You the strongest man I know. Well, the words heal something deep. I kiss her slow. Reverent, then Malik's tiny head. Then Zoe's curls. In the quiet snow-lit room, with the city sleeping below. Final justice settles over us like a blanket. The threats are gone. The empire is clean. The past is redeemed. Not erased, but transformed into purpose. I hold my family close. The passionate love that began with a child's desperate grasp, now the foundation of everything. The war is over, and we have won, not with power or wealth, but with love fierce, unbreakable, redemptive. The final justice is not punishment. It is this, a mother no longer afraid, children warm and fed, a man who once lost everything, now holding his whole world in his arms. And it is enough. It is everything. 1 year later, the first warm days of spring filter through the floor-to-ceiling windows of our Brooklyn brownstone, the one I bought specifically for its garden and quiet tree-lined street. Cherry blossoms drift past the glass like soft pink snow, settling on the backyard patio where Zoe chases bubbles. Her laughter ringing clear and unafraid. Malik toddles after her on sturdy legs, chubby hands reaching for the iridescent spheres, his dark curls bouncing in the sunlight. Aaliyah sits on the porch steps, watching them with the same wonder she wore the day we left the hospital, as if she still cannot quite believe this life belongs to us. I stand in the doorway, coffee in hand, letting the scene wash over me. The scar on my side has healed to a thin silver line, a permanent reminder of the night I almost lost everything. But the deeper wounds, the ones carved by 25 years of loneliness and guilt, have faded into something bearable, something almost beautiful. Because of them. Aaliyah turns, catching my gaze. She smiles that slow, the radiant smile that still stops my heart, and pats the step beside her. I join her, our shoulders touching, her hand finding mine without thought. Look at them, she whispers, voice soft with awe. Happy, safe, fed. Too, the simple words carry the weight of everything she endured. The freezing nights in a drafty apartment where heat was a luxury. The empty cupboards that forced her to choose between formula and rent. The humiliation of food pantry lines and eviction threats taped to the door. I squeeze her hand. The remorse, rising again quiet now, but ever present for the years I lived in penthouses while she fought alone. Yet she never blames me. She only loves harder. We married quietly last autumn. In the garden, under turning leaves. A small ceremony blending her church traditions with Korean elements Sujin would have loved. A simple hanbok-inspired ribbon for Aaliyah's hair. Gospel hymns, alongside a traditional tea ceremony. Zoe carried flowers. Malik slept in a sling against my chest. No extravagance, just vows spoken with tears and promises kept. The empire has changed too. Cleaner now, profits redirected. Scholarships for children from struggling neighborhoods. Anonymous support for single mothers. Funding for shelters that once turned Aaliyah away for lack of space. I still command respect, perhaps more, because men sense the steel forged in love, not just fear. Rivals keep distance. The streets are quieter, but the real change is here. In this brownstone filled with laughter and the scent of Aaliyah's Sunday soul food, mingling with my mother's kimchi recipe, she insisted on learning. Zoe runs to us, breathless, Daddy Alexander, Malik said my name. Well, almost. It sounded like Zozo. I scoop her up, kissing her cheek. That's close enough. He'll get it soon. It's the clings of that. Aaliyah laughs. The sound rich and free. Malik toddles over, collapsing into her lap with a contented sigh. In this moment, the inner turmoil finally stills. The remorse remains a teacher, not a tormentor. It reminds me daily how fragile happiness is, how much it costs, how fiercely it must be guarded. Love has transcended everything I once believed impossible. Skin color, class, past sins, none of it matters. Wealth could not buy this peace. Poverty could not prevent it. Only humanity raw, compassionate, courageous could build it. A small hand tugs my sleeve, Zoe again, holding a crayon, drawing 4 stick figures under a rainbow. Labeled in careful letters, Mama, Daddy Alexander, Zoe, Malik. For you, she says proudly. I take it with reverence. Throat tight, Aaliyah leans her head on my shoulder, tears shining but happy. This is the knowledge I carry now, that love is the greatest education life offers. It teaches us who we truly are when walls fall. It is the life lesson written in every scar, every tear, every laugh. Knowledge of the heart is deeper than any empire. Life lesson upon life lesson. Compassion heals what power cannot. Education in humility. In gratitude. In the fierce protection of the vulnerable. Knowledge that a child's desperate grasp can redeem a broken man. Life lesson that a mother's quiet strength can rebuild a world. Education in the truth that love real. Sacrificial love knows no boundaries. Knowledge whispered in quiet nights when Aaliyah traces my scar and tells me I am enough. Life lesson learned in Zoe's bedtime prayers that include, thank you for Daddy Alexander. Education in Malik's first steps toward my open arms. Knowledge. Life lesson. Education. Repeated in every sunrise we share. Every ordinary day made extraordinary by their presence. Knowledge that humanity is the only wealth that matters. Life lesson that love is the only power worth wielding. Education in grace. Freely given and received. To everyone watching this story, may you carry these truths into your own lives. May good health fill your days. Joy light your hearts. And peace settle over your homes each night. Thank you for joining us on this journey through The Subway Guardian. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that love transcends every divide, please like, subscribe, and share the channel Crimson Romance Stories so more hearts can find these tales every day. Tell us in the comments, how did this story touch you? Does it reflect something real in your life, a moment when love overcame impossible odds? Share your thoughts, your emotions. We read every one. Until next time, goodbye. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.